Hello, my name is Mesoma Umejono, and I'll be walking you through the overview of the global mental health um, report analysis. So, this dashboard is focusing on the depression, anxiety, suicide related depression, and how these conditions vary across countries, gender, disorder, and time. Looking at the KPI over here, we can see that the dataset covers a total depression count of approximately 29 billion cases aggregated across countries and years. And we also have the average depression rate to be about 3.5%. And we can also see here the country that is most affected, that has the highest depression rate, which is Greenland. And also the gender depression gap is 0.18%, indicating a measurable difference between males and females. And we can also see the suicide related depression accounts for about 0.36%, and the average anxiety rate globally is 3.99%, which is approximately 4%. These KPIs show that mental health conditions are widespread globally, with depression and anxiety occurring at comparable levels. Okay, moving over to this bar chart, we can see that this bar chart it shows the total depression cases by country. And we can see that countries such as the Southeast Asia, the the Middle East, the East Asia, and the South Asia record the highest total depression counts. This pattern is largely driven by population size rather than prevalence alone. This insights that high population regions carry the largest mental health burden in absolute numbers. Moving over to depression by gender, we can see that the females show a higher depression percentage than the males, and the difference aligns with a 0.18% gender depression gap shown in our KPI over here. This suggests that gender plays a role in depression prevalence, possibly influenced by social, economic, and biological factors. Moving over to prevalence percent by disorder over here, we can see that this donut chart breaks down mental health prevalence by disorder type. We can see that here, depressive rate, depressive rate is high. It accounts for the largest shares, followed by anxiety, followed closely by alcohol use. Then we have bipolar and drug use, we have and the rest of them. While conditions such as bipolar, eating disorder, alcohol use contribute smaller proportion, this majorly indicates that depression and anxiety dominate the global mental health landscape. So moving over to this line chart here, we can see that it shows anxiety trend over time. We can see that anxiety prevalence shows a gradual downtrend across the years, and if we are counting from the previous years, is actually an uptrend, indicating a slight long-term reduction in average anxiety levels globally. However, despite the decline, anxiety remains constantly present in noticeable levels. Here in 2012, we have 4%, average of 4%, and also in 2002, we also have an average of 4%. So Moving over to the disorders by country. This chart compares different mental health disorder across selected countries. Countries such as Greenland and Morocco show relatively higher combined disorder values, while others show lower but still significant level. This highlights that mental health burden varies from country varies by country and disorder type, requiring localized interventions. And the insights here, we can see that the analysis show that anxiety and depression dominate global mental health prevalence, with females more affected than males. It also emphasizes that population size significantly impacts total case count, and that absolute numbers must be interpreted alongside prevalence rates. To conclude this analysis insights, we can see that it shows that depression and anxiety are the most prevalent mental health condition worldwide, with noticeable gender differences and strong population effects. While some religions show declining anxiety trends, the overall burden remains high, highlighting the need for targeted population-specific mental health policies and interventions. For example, in countries such as the Korea, Asia, China, we record a high countries record they have a high rate of suicide due to bullying. So bullying can also contribute to mental health disorders in these countries, and we can see that there is need for the targeted population-specific mental health policies and intervention, in order to training, especially in high schools, training them on how bullying is bad. No, some seminars like that that can reduce the rate of bullying, which can reduce the rate of suicide in the Asian countries. Thank you.